দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি নিরুলটা মুখোমুখিতে। আজকে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ডে অফ দ্য গার্লস চাইল্ড, আর এই বিষয়ে কথা বলার জন্য আমাদের সাথে স্টুডিওতে আছে সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেন এডুকেশন ডিরেক্টর বুশরা জুলফিকার। ওয়েলকাম টু দ্য শো। First question, even in 2018, why we have to have a day like International Day for the Girl Child?
Well,
are they not safe? They not have proper education, rights? Please explain.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. It's a very important question that you ask, and it is a question which should have been obsolete long ago. As a human family and as people who work for the rights of girls, this is a lesson that we learned many decades back, that without the safety, well-being and development of girls, no society, no country can progress, no matter what.
Right.
But this is a lesson that we have not applied successfully across our work, across our societies, and more so, in terms of the behaviors and attitudes that we have towards girls. Every day should be a day of the girl child. We do not need one day of the year.
Right.
And it is high time that we look at girls as equal human beings who have equal opportunities, equal chances, and equal choices that they are empowered to make in life.
What's the theme for this year?
So the theme for this year is having a skilled girls force. And when you talk about skills, there are different kinds of skills.
Skilled Girls Force.
Skilled girl force.
Okay, interesting.
And we stand behind the girls and we stand with our girls, supporting them to achieve their God-gifted natural potential, to allow them and enable them with all those factors which help them find their inner voice and empower them. And that's why for an organization like Save the Children, we take this very seriously. We invest in girls, particularly young girls, throughout our programs across the country, globally as well as in Bangladesh. And we work with girls to help them realize their own self-worth, find their own voice, and live lives which are, full of opportunities as boys are entitled to.
Also, what are the particular programs you're looking at or working at with the girls and throughout the world, I guess?
So basically, for an organization like Save the Children, working for marginalized and disadvantaged groups is something which is at the heart of anything that we do anywhere in the world. Girls' education, for example, is really a central pillar of all our programs in countries that we work, especially in Bangladesh. I can tell you that we are working very closely with the government of Bangladesh to make sure that they have gender-specific policies and plans which promote the opportunities for girls. We work with communities and parents, particularly mothers, to make them realize the importance of girls' education and well-being. And then we work with schools and communities to make sure that once girls access schools, they come to schools, they are safe, they are protected, and they can really focus on achieving quality of education, which then gives them an opportunity to attain financial autonomy later in life.
Right. And what about the social safety net? How do you see these things?
So I think it's a very important discovery. Also, one lesson that we have learned over decades of doing development work is the importance of creating social safety nets around disadvantaged groups.
Right.
And that works at various levels. You need to have right kind of policies and plans which are well resourced, but you also need to have a bottom-up approach. You work with communities and with local authorities, local actors, and local civil society to really create a net and form a coalition which protect and promote the well-being and equality for all, especially for girls.
And how Save the Children is involved in this particular place?
So Save the Children has a very deep-rooted commitment to girls' empowerment, and we do that internationally as well as nationally.
In how many countries?
In 63 countries that we work in. All over the world. That's a really big number. And in Bangladesh, what we do is that we are part of various girls' rights-based coalitions and advocacy forums where we work with civil society, with local-minded stakeholders, and to really develop a culture around girls' safety, girls' equality of opportunities, and girls' empowerment. And most of all, we work directly with girls. We help them discover their true potential. We try to give them the skills, the entrepreneurial skills, and life skills, whether it's leadership skills, whether it's communication skills, whether it's finding your own place in the market, but having an opportunity of being equally educated and as well as equally accessing decent market and workplace.
On this part of discussion, we have to take a break and we'll come back and discuss more. দর্শক আলোচনার এই পর্যায়ে বিরতি নিচ্ছি, সাথে থাকুন, ফিরছি একটু পর। আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি মুখোমুখিতে। কথা বলছিলাম ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ডে ফর দ্য গার্ল চাইল্ড নিয়ে। আমাদের সাথে আছে সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেনের বাংলাদেশের এডুকেশন ডিরেক্টর Bushra Zulfikar. Welcome back to the show once again. As before the break, we've been discussing that you try to help with the capacity and training in different ways to the girls, especially in entrepreneurship, leadership, and other things like that. So you train them, and or you fund them. How you help them?
Both.
Okay.
You know, we do both. We have programs where we work directly with girls in terms of building their capacity, providing them the skills and knowledge which allows them to explore and pursue their interests, such as you know, technical and vocational skills, such as skills for you know, job placement and search of better economic opportunities. We have lots of research on market surveys, and we analyze the areas where we work, what the market trends are like. And then we really have a consultative dialogue with girls and help them pick out what are their niche areas, where are their interests, and how can you know, we support them. It really is more than anything else, it's more moral support and that push that they need, because they face so much stigma and discrimination and discouragement from within you know, the attitudes, very deep-rooted attitudes. That's where I think the work of Save the Children becomes very important, and we prioritize that mind shift and that behavioral change.
Okay, and what's your experience of working in different countries, and if you want to put a comparative analysis of countries with Bangladesh, what would be your observation?
So I think Bangladesh is on a very exciting journey. It's on the right path, really. We see a lot of economic development and growth. That is really fascinating. Within the region, it's a really great example. But we are yet to see the true fruits of that economic development trickle down to the poorest and marginalized sections of the society. On education, for example, I will tell you, you know, having worked in different countries on education reforms, what Bangladesh has done very well is enrolling more and more children into school. So in the 90s, Bangladesh closed the primary level enrollment gaps. However, the quality of education is a big challenge for Bangladesh. It is not up to the mark as yet. And what we see that children who are even in advanced stages of their schools, like grade 5 and 6, they lack even very basic foundational literacy skills. Skills for maths are particularly weak. So I think Bangladesh challenges with improving the quality of education. And you talk about, you know, worldwide what happens. So there are three critical ingredients which make a country's education system really effective. The first one is that you have the right kinds of policies and plans. I think Bangladesh has them, and it's right, you know, on track for Bangladesh. The second thing is institutions, you know, and the people working in those institutions, whether they are teachers or head teachers or local government authorities or education administrators. So having right kind of skills, qualifications, and attitudes put into those institutions. And the third thing is really, you know, having the entire system focus on students' learning. The core focus needs to be on students' learning outcomes in a really, you know, student-centered, child-centered approach. I think that's a challenge for Bangladesh. What we have seen across the world is that if these three elements come together, dramatically the quality of education can improve. The effects are, you know, much higher for girls. You know, we see in Bangladesh girls outperform boys in primary rates. But then the entire system needs to be engineered in a way that consistently there is a focus on girls' education.
And do you think the system, the development has Bangladesh done still that needs more of strategic changes so that the women can participate in every sector?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's Bangladesh development has been phenomenal so far. What it really needs is a big focus on equity. And equality of opportunity. You know, we see that in Bangladesh, 45% of girls, young girls, drop out of secondary schools. 45% is almost half of your population. It's a really big number. And when these girls drop out of schools, that literally puts a full stop to their future prospects in life. They do not complete their education, which means that they will not have, access to good marketplace. They will not be able to gain financial autonomy. And, they will not be able to live wholesome, accomplished, quality lives. That's a big force which is being lost, for secondary girls. And I think it's a really big focus. The other indicator that I can share with you is that in Bangladesh, for all the children who are out of school, almost 50% are children with disabilities. So they are physically challenged children.
Okay.
And I think within the broader development of Bangladesh, the focus on these disadvantaged groups, whether it's girls or it's children with disabilities or it's children living in hard-to-reach areas. Bangladesh is a country where there are, places which are underwater for half of the year. So that needs to be the focus. We really need to make sure that the interests and rights of those marginalized groups are front and center of the development of Bangladesh.
That's really very important. But on this part of discussion, you have to take another break and we'll come back and discuss more. দর্শক, আমরা আলোচনা করছিলাম ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ডে অফ দ্য গার্লস চাইল্ড। এই বিষয়টা নিয়ে এখানে আসছে আরো অনেক কিছু নিয়ে আমরা আলোচনা করবো। তবে সাথেই থাকুন, ফিরছি একটা বিরতির পর। আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি মুখোমুখিতে আরও একবার। কথা বলছিলাম সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেন এডুকেশন ডিরেক্টর বুশরা জুলফিকারের সাথে, আর কথা বলছিলাম ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ডে ফর দ্য গার্লস চাইল্ড নিয়ে। ওয়েলকাম টু দ্য শো ফর দ্য লাস্ট টাইম। Do you think the behavioral change is one of the major issue? Because probably with the men still believe if the boss is he, that's better than the boss is she.
I think it's a really important question that you ask, the behavioral change. It is a very deep-rooted mindset, unfortunately, which still prevails in our region. If you look at developed countries, women are astronauts.
Yes.
They are driving spaceships. They are, flying fighter planes. There is really no discrimination. A time has come when, these predefined, very conventional approaches towards what women should do and what men should do, we really need to move away from that and understand that women are human beings with equal rights, equal potentials. So, this is very interesting, the female boss versus the male boss. It's time that we really take people for who they are instead of which gender they belong to. For what is it that they bring to the table, for the skills, the knowledge, the capacity that they have, and we recognize that. Because you see, it's important to understand that if we take this approach and if we truly let women be, if we truly empower them, the entire society benefits.
Right.
The reaps of women emancipation and women empowerment, the fruits are for everyone to share. But no country and no society can develop if it's still holding its women back.
And what about the religion-based prejudice?
Well, I think religion is, very, very individual and very, very personal. And no religion in the world, talks about violence against women. No religion in the world promotes that kind of a negative approach, whether that's Islam or that's Christianity or that's Buddhism. All these religions talk about, human emancipation.
Right.
They talk about, building peace and harmony in your own life. And what we've also seen is that, when there is domestic violence against women, it is the perpetuators of those violence.
Right.
It is the man himself who's disturbed and who's having an internal sickness that he's trying to take it out on women. So I think all the religions are very clear on the equality of human beings. It's how we interpret it. And it's time that we interpret it in true spirit for development of all.
We are almost at the ending of the show. What is the biggest challenge for Bangladesh in this particular section as Bangladesh is trying to promoting itself or moving forward to middle-income country?
I think Bangladesh has a very steep, economic growth. The middle-income country status is a very big achievement for this country, and there has been amazing, growth in terms of the industry, in terms of the incomes per capita incomes have really increased up. But what is really lacking, I think, is a focus on quality. Whether that's quality of education or that's quality of human interaction that we have amongst ourselves. When we talk about human interaction, what we really mean is that, you know, good quality education and a fastly developing country like Bangladesh needs also to have a really good human resource base. People with the right kind of tolerance. You know, we are in the 21st century. Tolerance and compatibility, compassion towards each other is such an important denominator for what the future of the world will look like. So I think it's also a time that we, you know, try and make our society a lot more peaceful. You know, you stop at a traffic signal in Bangladesh and the way people horn, it just goes on to show the lack of patience, for instance.
Right.
So it's the little things which will, you know, really shape the growth and development of Bangladesh in a very positive way. And I think the media has a very important role to play, because media also has a role to educate the society. It can be an instrument for social change. So building those behaviors, the non-discriminatory behaviors, the encouraging and supportive behaviors towards each other, particularly towards disadvantaged sections of the society, I think it's a collective responsibility, and every actor has to play its role.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience and knowledge.
Pleasure.
I believe someday will come, we don't have to spend a day of International Day for the Girl's Child. It will be every day of the year for them and for us.
That should be. That should be.
Thank you. দর্শক, মুখোমুখি শেষ করছি এখানেই। আশা করছি বছরের প্রত্যেকটি দিন সবার জন্য সমান অধিকার।